The biggest disruption in life is death. Why can I say that so emphatically? Because I'm an expert at death. I'm an expert at final goodbyes. I'm a funeral director. Interestingly enough, though, over the last 20 years, I have led an organizational change consulting company. And I've realized that the organizational change adoption curve is identical to the grief recovery curve. Amazing. The only difference between your organizations and my funeral homes are the casseroles. Now, Kubler-Ross, back in 1969, wrote a book called On Death and Dying, and she studied hospice patients, patients in palliative care, and their families, and she identified 5 stages of grief, and they are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and eventual acceptance. What's so interesting is when you overlay both the grief recovery cycle and the change curve, the adoption change curve, they are identical. Different labels, but same result. Why? Because we're all dealing with humans. And when you change a human condition, you create loss, and loss creates grief. Let me go a little bit deeper into the stages of grief. First comes denial. And all of a sudden, the group emojis start flying. Oh my gosh, just duck and cover. Fight, flight, or freeze. I'm going to dig my heels in. This too shall pass. When they realize it's not going to pass, all of a sudden, there's anger because of the fear, the trepidation of what's coming. And when they realize that what's coming is not going to stop, all of a sudden, folks start to bargain. How do we do a workaround? How do I deal with my colleagues, maybe my boss? Can we put this off for a quarter, please? And when they know that you can't put that change off for a quarter, all of a sudden they become depressed. So yes, they're around the office and they're sad, but worse yet, performance plummets. It falls off a cliff. But then soon enough, people do realize that the horizon isn't so bad. In that horizon lies opportunity, and they embrace opportunity, and they accept change as a great opportunity for them to survive and thrive. Now, we as leaders need to understand that the grief cycle is not linear. It's not a direct package progression. And so you can't show up in your offices and suggest that change is going to be adopted all at the same time. Show up with the party hats and believe that everybody's going to do that group hug, levitate, and all love on one another. What we can't also do is send that email to say, I got a great opportunity for you, and I'm going to show up at your cubicle sometime soon with a Starbucks coffee. I'm going to tell you about it, and you're going to start there on Monday. All of a sudden, people dig their heels in, amygdala hijack, fight, flight, and freeze. So the old way of dogmatic change management doesn't work anymore, but the new way absolutely does, and that is through servant leadership, through connecting your mindset, your new habits, your new attitudes, your new beliefs, your new expectations regarding change, and connect it to your empathetic heart set. We need to be change navigators. We need to provide the compass for change. We need to provide the illuminating corporate lighthouse so people see that horizon beyond the horizon and embrace it. What I know is that we have to become sellers of hope. We need to create the replacement picture for those that we lead so they embrace it as we do. The only difference, though, as it relates to disrupting HR, if you will, I want to be a disruptor with you and say a final goodbye to believing that grief does not exist in the workplace. Because it does. Because we lead humans. And when you change the human condition, you build in stress, in turn fear, and in turn grief. So as we say a final goodbye to the belief that grief doesn't exist in the workplace, and celebrate the success that we're all going to garner as we're illuminating the potential in our futures. The only thing I ask you to do is when you conclude that celebratory meeting, don't end it like I used to at the funeral home with the 23rd Psalm and casseroles. Enjoy the journey. Thank you.